All right, what's up, guys? Welcome to episode number 178 of the Always Race Day podcast. I'm Connor Ferguson. I'll be joined in a second here by Caleb Sloha and Josh Homestead. They're on the screen. They're just little. Wait, this way? That way? That way. We're going to talk Kyle Larson, if he should get a waiver or not, to get into the NASCAR playoffs after he wasn't able to race any laps in the Coca-Cola 600. We're going to talk Josef Newgarden's big victory in Indianapolis. Probably talk a little bit about the speeding penalty for Larson and everything that happened in that race. And of course, big news with Stewart Haas Racing that surfaced yesterday, as well as Front Row Motorsports expanding out to 3 cars that broke tonight. We're recording this Wednesday night. We're live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. So appreciate it if you are tuned in. And if you're tuned in and you're looking for a car, look no further than the fine people at the Karl Auto Group. They're our presenting sponsor for the Always Race Day podcast and alwaysraceday.com and its entire entity. So appreciate them. If you're looking for a car, you know where to go. And with that, let's get this thing started. All right, boys. I know we the last episode we kind of talked about it a little bit, but I think the Kyle Larson waiver discussion got a lot bigger over the weekend.
Yeah, it came to a full head, basically. Pretty much the worst possible scenario for Larson. But I can't imagine that they would have elected to keep him at the Indy 500 without some sort of good feelings that they were going to get the waiver.
I agree. Completely agree with that. And I think he'll get a waiver. And Michael says, obviously, Larson is going to get a waiver. I completely, that is my thought as well. I've been shocked at the amount of people that have came out and spoke out against NASCAR and said that this is going to open up a can of worms or something crazy. And what I really wanted to say, and I guess I'll cut to the chase on this stuff. I expected Caleb to come out a little hotter in his defense of this, but here's what happened.
But it makes sense though. Like there's not much to really argue in a sense.
I mean, I still am for the theory. Now, I would love to see the rule, because if the rule is you have to, attempt to start every race, I mean, yeah, I agree. I think you're opening up a can of worms on where that line is. But I've also seen iterations where the rule might be you have to attempt to qualify for every race. And if that is the rule, he qualified for the race, that means he gets a waiver if that's the case.
Yeah, and qualifying or not, I think having a NASCAR driver do the double is a massive deal. I think having Kyle Larson, of all those drivers in the field this year, do the double, that was I was told by a couple of older folks that I talk a lot with and very much enjoy having the conversations I have with them. And they looked at me and they said that Indy 500 felt like a 3-hour ad for a NASCAR race. How much they talked about Kyle Larson. His popularity grew a lot this week, and a lot more people on the planet know about Kyle Larson, who he is, know that he's talented at the very least, if that wasn't quite obvious already. But my thinking, if NASCAR denies the waiver, right, the PR storm against NASCAR in that would be astronomical. It'd be one of their, most disagreed with moves I think they'd ever do. And either way, people are just going to go look at the owner's standings. The owner's playoff would take precedent over the driver one. That's the one that pays out the money anyway, right? And we'd get to Phoenix, and they'd be advertising 2 championship 4s. And I don't think you want that. I think you want your 4 guys to be your 4 guys, right? So the discourse around this, like, should he get a waiver or not? If you want any other NASCAR driver to ever do the double, and you really want that. I get Ryan Blaney and Scott McLaughlin on that next year. That'd be insane to see. But
yeah, you just highlighted my point. Like,
yeah,
this will absolutely discourage drivers from wanting to do this double if you don't grant this waiver for something obviously out of their control.
As long as they can justify it, because what I don't want is you can't have it where the rules are written a specific way and then you aren't following your own rules, because that really, I mean, we talk about it all the time, is, you know, NASCAR flip-flopping on their rulings and the rules and their, you know, decisions that they make. You don't want to go back and forth on that, because I think there was a time where Grant Enfinger was denied a waiver because I don't want to say a similar situation, but, you know, a situation that, you know, maybe looking back, if we're going to give Larson a waiver, you know, we could have gave Grant Enfinger one. And so it's like that's where it just starts to get bad, because they're going against their own rules. Now, if it was, you know, specified, or if they're going to say, hey, we're going to allow this and we're going to specifically allow it for the Indy 500 going forward, however we're going to do that. But I just don't want it to be where it's a case that, you know, for this specific race, they're allowed to do that, but for other ones, they're not allowed to, and, you know, so on.
What did you guys have any thoughts a little bit? And yeah, I think if we really got into that discussion about what races would they be allowed to do, I think that opens more of a can of worms than anything. But, and I don't think we'll see something too similar to that. But apparently his spotter, Tyler Mon, he's been a spotter for a long time. He was spotting for him in Indianapolis. He would not have been allowed to spot for Kyle after getting back to Charlotte. And I believe from listening to Door Bumper Clear, he was told that on the way back to Charlotte, that once he got there, he wouldn't be allowed to sub in on the spotter team. I didn't know if you guys had any thoughts. That was one of the most egregiously like WTF rules I've ever looked at.
I'm assuming because it was a different, like the changing out spotters in the middle of the race, I'm assuming is what...
we can't change out spotters. Why?
Well,
it feels like that's like one of the like most inconsequential things to the rest of the field is changing out spotters.
It just depends on if he was on the roster and, you know, whatever. Like,
and I don't think you can put a sub on the roster. So I think that might alleviate that rule in the future if they ever looked at that. I don't think it's going to get enough traction that NASCAR is going to be pressured to do anything or anything like that. So
yeah, I don't know. I guess I don't know the rule, and I don't know the background too much of that one, so it's hard to say. But
yeah, that wasn't on a rundown or anything. I kind of wish you would have came out heavier on the don't give him a waiver thing like you were last week. You were guns blazing on that, Caleb.
Yeah, but I go by facts, and I mean I did see one.
What the rule book says.
Yeah, I did see an iteration that somebody had posted, and it said, you know, you have to attempt to qualify. So I mean, if that is the case, he did what he was supposed to in that fact.
But again, we look at these. It's the rule sticklers that tick me off, because change the rule. If you have a bad rule, change it. Right? It's not.
You can change it after the fact, but you can't go like if it
change
was
it anytime you want. There's no publication date on the rule book. There's no deadline you got to meet.
No,
it's your rule book. You made up the rule book.
I don't ever want to hear you say that. NASCAR
everything in the rule book is an arbitrarily made up rule. Yes.
Yeah, but then if they decide to flip flop on one of their things, so for instance, you know, let's say that Kyle Busch punches Ricky Stenhouse next week and there's no fine for it. I don't want to hear you say, oh, well, Ricky got fined, but Kyle didn't. I'm going to be like,
you should know I never do that, because
they changed the rule.
Bad rule over here doesn't justify making it bad for this guy over here.
I'm not saying to that extent, but I'm saying,
I know what you mean.
If they don't fine him at all, you can't say, well, you fined Ricky, but you didn't. I'm going to be like, well, they changed the rule. They decided to change. Like, that's where it gets messy, and that's where you just don't want that. So, I mean, if the rule,
I agree to an extent, and we have, you know, these things in the rule book already, right? That they say like, oh, if you do this, you know, you're going to get fined like this. Stenhouse ate $75,000 2 weeks ago for punching somebody off the racetrack, deliberately waiting to not use his car as a weapon. And then we got a guy using his car this week, fined $25,000 in Austin Hill in the Xfinity race, $50,000 less, and he did it on the track and you're finding Ricky $75,000 2 weeks ago.
Doing it to a guy that also didn't have brakes as well.
Well, keep in mind, though, there's two differences there. Hill was also penalized 25 points, which I believe removes him from...
That is not worth $50,000. I would like to specify that in my argument.
But here's the thing. So not only is it a...
Because he's already locked in.
Which does remove him from the top spot in the standings, which does have its implications because you get the, playoff points and all that. But historically, we do see lighter penalties in Xfinity than what we do compared to Cup on the financial side because those teams, aren't making as much money. They're not getting as much. It's a smaller scale. So we have historically seen smaller monetary fines in those, the truck and Xfinity. So
if they did that to scale as far as what NASCAR pays out for their results, they find them like 10 times as much as they probably should have in comparison to the 75. So,
yeah. So, I'm good with that. I think that's a fair enough deal. And my guess is he's probably also, well, did they say he's on probation? I don't know if they even say that anymore.
I was going to say, I can't remember the last time I read something that said someone was on probation.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that it's secret probation.
I really want someone to be on probation, just have the probation period extended for doing something else while on probation. I think that would, just seeing that typed out would be really funny. I would laugh at it. I can't justify ever having that, but you get what I mean. Now let's go to Sunday. We're going to get back to like everything that's happened this week in NASCAR. I wanted to lead with Kyle. That was a big talking point the last few days. I assume, I shouldn't say I assume. I would expect NASCAR at some point to come out with the news that he's getting a waiver. I don't know when that will be, though.
I don't know why it's taken them this long.
That was going to be my point. Like, I don't recall ever a waiver taking this long.
Yeah. Is it usually 3 days?
I don't have the history on that, but I'm just surprised. I mean, they kind of knew it was happening, so I'm surprised that it wasn't kind of an automatic announcement made Sunday night.
Yeah, and I have Seth Agert. You guys need to follow him. Seth Agert 91 on Twitter. He keeps track of waivers and the result of stuff, on track incidents that were turned into penalties, stuff like that. He doesn't have the days. And Seth is like wicked crazy in the head, so maybe he'll add a column to this of how many days between the incident and when it got there of how long it took for the waiver. But Seth, please, I'm not pressuring you to do that, so don't go out and try to feel like you need to. Yeah, he sent me this whole chart, Caleb. I was going to body you in this argument, but you weren't as bullish on the Larson waiver stuff. It's okay. No, we'll go back to Sunday, talk some Indy 500 and kind of go through the week chronologically now. But Josef Newgarden goes back-to-back at Indy. I'm
sick and tired of this man winning.
Insane last lap pass. Instant classic of a race. A never forget type of race. Where were you at moment? Is that I'm just trying to rub in Josh
in turn two. That's why I was
a big Pato Award guy, and he is.
The only anger that I have is I have been to 7 IndyCar races. Josef Newgarden has won 6 of the 7 IndyCar races I've gone to.
And the 7th one was
when he was leading and crashed out. Yeah.
And would have won that race. And that's funny as hell. My goodness. What a streak you're on.
Well, and the funny part too, that 7th race was won by Pato. So we get down to the end of the Indy 500 and I look at Josh and I'm like, well, it's going to be one of those 2 again, most likely. So yeah, he's the bad news is he's going to 2 more IndyCar races this year and they're both at Iowa Speedway. So the odds of improving the ratio is not great.
Haven't figured out who I'm going to pick yet. It's going to be a tough decision.
Put all the chips on Joseph.
Yeah, and dude's so good.
Because I'll be there. So you, all the betting viewers out there, I will be at the tracks. So just put it all on Joseph.
Yeah, he is. He's calculated that drive at the end that he had, just it reminds me of watching Mahomes in the Super Bowl. Like, you know, he's driving down the field. You know, like at some point he's going to score. You know, if the 49ers got the ball in that Super Bowl last year in overtime, they're driving down. Well, Pat Mahomes is on the other side of the field. Like, it just feels like it's inevitable at some point. And Josef went for that pass and got it at the exact right moment. And what it really got me about the Indy 500 this year is I'm watching and I'm thinking to myself, there's not a single other product of racing on the planet where Caleb, I swear to God, if you bring up Daytona or Talladega right now, where as soon as the leader is passed, you're waiting for him to retake the lead. And that you feel like that run can come at any time, that they're going to trade the lead. Hey, maybe someone's going to try to save on fuel and go back to third or something like that. That race and that on-track product there is astronomically above the rest of the world. It is the coolest thing that we have, and I love it.
Well, here's the thing, though, too, is no one's shown all race that you could build a run in half a lap. I mean,
yeah, that is a
most
very
of it
good
happened
point.
on the front stretch. Like,
I
everyone
I think part of that is you really have to commit to doing that.
Yeah, I mean, and like obviously that was a late move. Like, that took some balls to do it, and that truly the definition of checkers or wreckers, in my opinion.
Yeah, and
I mean, you don't make that pass unless it's the last lap.
Yeah, exactly. Josef went on Pat McAfee's show this week and had a really good interview, the whole 9 yards.
I'm sure you loved it.
Well, yeah, you know, I love McAfee, and Newgarden's like, he's such a great, and say what you will about the cheating scandal. I think I've said this on here about my thoughts on that and Josef and everything else. He's such a charming interview. Like, you need that out of a champion. You need a guy that is going to be personable and really likable and can really wear his heart on his sleeve. And he always does that. So I thought I really liked what he said there. And he was talking about that move. And he said, you know, as soon as I got past, I was like, I'm going to pass him in turn 3. And he was setting it up.
Well, no, he also made the comment that his, like, so IndyCar posted a post-race reaction of him watching the last lap. And he made the comment about, he, like, as soon as he got past on the front stretch, his mindset was, I'm going to get him back on the front stretch. But he knew that once he came out of 1, he was still close enough to where he had the potential to make the move in 3.
Yeah, and that's a huge thing there. And I don't know. I thought it was I thought the whole day was just a great showcase for what that race is, and really goes to exemplify why it's the biggest race in the world, you know, and why so many people care about it. I thought it was as perfect as a rain-delayed Indianapolis 500 could be. And I think that stuck out a lot to me because, you know, sometimes when races are rain-delayed, they don't always hold their value throughout the day.
In that, too, I do want to give a big shout-out to the track president and the track overall at Indianapolis, because I think they did a fantastic job with having 350,000 people there. They did a great job at communicating and handling the delay and the weather and stuff. And, you know,
what about our entrance? Can we talk about that?
No, we probably shouldn't talk about
But show on here. What was your entrance?
There wasn't one. I mean,
laid back. Anyways.
Yeah, they didn't scan our tickets. They didn't check our bags. Like, they just got people in there.
They didn't, yeah.
But I get it.
Yeah, because I'm sure they probably already scanned majority of them. So,
well, not only that, but they wanted to start the race as quickly as possible, and they didn't want 100,000 people waiting to have their ticket scanned, right, you know, as the race is starting. So,
are you guys saying on our auto racing show that you snuck into the Indy 500?
We held them out, and they just stood there like cross-armed with the scanner in their and like tucked away.
But
that's plausible deniability. You gotta include that at the start. We were holding them up. We were right there.
But they did a great job. They had a press conference, and an hour before the storms were expected to hit, they actually cleared the grandstands. they made the decision at 9 a.m. to not even bring the cars out onto the grid because they said they didn't want, fans to sit in the stands and look at the cars and, the stuff that's out there. I mean, while it sucks as a fan, I think they did a fantastic job at, making sure that everybody was going to be safe and, then getting everybody in, getting the show going, and got it in before curfew.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you guys have anything else from just the experience at Indy? I was curious to ask you about that. We'll talk about the race too, and then we.
It's one of a kind. I had I was building up to it at home, ready to go for it. It's by far any other experience. I made a post about it, and I recommend it to be on anyone's bucket list. If you like any type of sport, I mean, you will not experience another sporting event like this one. And the whole build up to it, obviously we didn't really get to do it because of the weather, but all the presentations they do, the build up, the flyovers, it's not like any other.
Caleb, you got anything?
It was very interesting to see, which, I mean, it's to be expected, I guess, but Newgarden was actually booed by a decent amount of people.
Really?
Yeah, there was some.
If it was anyone else he was racing, I think it might have been a different story.
Now, they were, even at the beginning, people were yelling out cheater and stuff.
I missed that.
Yeah.
I was going to ask if that was more the cheating stuff or if it was more we're getting tired of this guy being so good on ovals. Not specifically Indy 500 because he's only won 2, but
I think it's related to the cheating thing because you could hear the crowd roar when he passed Pato, in turn 3. So, I mean, I think there's still a decent amount just in general there, but yeah, I think it was mainly because of the cheating thing, which I guess was kind of surprising to me, but also, I mean, they got a decent amount of hate for that, so I shouldn't be too surprised. The only other thing I have on that was, Graham Rahal, but
yeah, he was running in the top 10. You guys see that?
Oh yeah, when you go off pit cycle, that's really easy to do.
Wait, who?
Rahal.
Graham Rahal.
Oh,
Caleb has him in his head rent free.
Well, here's what the best part is. He was on the same cycle as Daly and Rob, but they were 3rd, 2nd, and 1st, while Rahal all of a sudden was 11th after 3 laps.
I will say, though, I got to keep him in my head rent-free because based on his performance on the track, he can't afford to pay rent. So,
hey, he's in the race. He raced another Indy 500. It's another thing to add to his career resume.
Yeah, the one car that didn't make it crashed out in his qualifying
starting dead last.
The one car that was slower than his that was never going to beat his qualifying lap no matter what that
the original car probably would have, but that one went up in the air and upside down.
Yes, starting dead last in the Indy.
Time out. Why does every other driver that isn't Graham Rahal get the benefit of, their car wrecked?
Graham Rahal didn't crash his car.
They had to replace an engine. Graham's team replaced an engine and has already proven that they aren't good at prepping for the Indy 500. I think that's a cemented thing we have now in that we'll be surprised if next year they're all in the top 15 come opening practice. Yeah?
Yeah.
Masato didn't have any issues.
That's good.
That was a Rahal car.
Champion? How many Indy 500s does he have? 2?
It was a Rahal car.
Yeah, but how many Indy 500s does he have?
I think Lundgaard did significantly better.
Lundgaard's a pretty damn good driver, up and comer. Yeah.
I see in your notes, it looks like we're hitting the panic button on Marcus Ericsson.
Oh yeah, so I was trying to integrate this, and if you have anything from the race, like Christian Rasmussen showed a ton of speed, that was awesome to see. There's people
that was fun to watch. He was making some ballsy moves.
Oh, stop! It was
fun to watch.
Before the race, you didn't even know who he was.
That is not true.
Are you talking to me or Josh? Because I tweeted about him during the race.
No, I'm talking about Josh. He was like, I don't even know who this guy is.
If I asked anybody,
I said that the first race of the year.
I was like, we literally saw him last year at Iowa Speedway.
Yeah,
like,
Indy next.
That
The
doesn't
33
count.
lap
Stop,
the 33
stop.
lap race.
Oh,
it doesn't
man.
matter. I knew who he was. I
No
remember
one
who he
hates
was.
Indy next. That it just development, Indy and Formula racing it just doesn't look fast. I know it is. I know it is fast. And there's a lot of things that go into it. It just doesn't look impressive.
Damn. Okay. Well,
It just what you need your minor league series. It just the product isn't there. The Xfinity series had 1.2 million viewers on TV this weekend. If they put the Indy Next race at Iowa on national television, I think it struggles to get 600,000.
well, it's also not like promoted as much. So that's
I'm just saying though, in any sport that I
Missed your
know
point.
massive strides about, I could not name you more than 3 minor league players or like G League players or anything like that.
Racing minor league racing series are very much a
NASCAR
bigger
might be
than
the only
minor
one that I
league
could do.
teams elsewhere, if that makes sense. Anyway, not the point of what I was saying. Christian Rasmussen didn't get rookie of the race, even though he finished 12th, I think. First oval race in his career. A lot of IndyCar people pissed off that Larson won rookie of the race. And
It's not of the race though. It's of like all of Indy. Like it's not of the race.
Yeah, and that's people want like an award just specifically for the highest finishing rookie in the race.
that is. It's
like,
the award is you were the highest finishing rookie of the race.
it's not because Larson got it and he wasn't the highest finishing.
No,
rookie.
I know, but I'm saying the award for the highest finishing rookie of the race is you were the highest finishing.
Oh,
rookie
that's
of the race.
we're giving them
Like,
the award now.
Yeah, like
No, our name's got to be on that. If you guys do that, you have to credit us. We thought of it first.
we came
Trademark,
up
patent it, trademark.
I'm gonna put something on the bottom. We'll send them a trophy, and on the bottom of the trophy, it'll just say like awards were just created to piss you off
is what
about
they
lists
get.
that you aren't on. I would shell out money. I would get them an impressive looking trophy. I just put some extra wrinkles in it. It'd be fun. No, but so Newgarden on the Pat McAfee show, about to sign off. This clip's like 11 seconds long, and Pat McAfee asked him, "So what do you think you guys could race and compete with Formula One drivers?" And he said, "Absolutely, we'd rock it." And like no hesitation, obviously, because we all know.
It. You give
the
everyone on the
motorsport
grid.
Fans,
Give everyone in the grid a Red Bull car.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It wouldn't even. Newgarden's running away with it.
It's all about the engineers. Like to me, like I'm not gonna discredit them because they are talented, but you put anyone in that field, like you could put the IndyCar field in like the McLarens, Ferraris, Mercedes, and then go put Verstappen in a Haas car. Gonna get the same results.
Who's in Verstappen's car? Because that guy's still winning that race.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's
whoever.
I think if you watch enough motorsports and you're not, living in Europe and completely brainwashed, I think that IndyCar guys can compete with the best of them, and that F1, the 20 guys in F1 are not the 20 best drivers in the world. They're not even close. There's guys on that list that don't sniff my top 500. Yeah, it's so. No, but that kind of created a lot of discourse from just an 11-second, probably more I've seen for an 11-second clip than anything ever before. And this one tweet kept showing up on my timeline that, what do you mean Marcus Ericsson, he couldn't make it in F1 and he's killing it in IndyCar. And I just wanted to give a shout out to him. He's 19th in the point standings, killing it.
My favorite one
was guy's killing it. Romain Grosjean is killing it.
I was gonna say my favorite one was people said Grosjean went over to IndyCar and just started winning. I was like, he doesn't have a win.
I was gonna say he hasn't
had a win, and it literally just showed a compilation of him just wrecking out over and over and over.
He's wrecked. Him and Ross Chastain are on a scoreboard for most people wrecked without being punched in the face.
He literally podiumed a Lotus car.
Grosjean did?
Yeah.
That's impressive as hell. That was always my team back in the day when I played that video game.
Mm-hmm.
I heard their new video game sucks. That's a shame.
Shucks.
I've just been seeing.
It's also $90.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I just found that out today. My roommate was telling me.
They don't want your fandomship. They want your money.
Yeah.
Don't fall for it. I've been warning you guys for 10 years now at this point. So anyways, are we good on IndyCar stuff, Caleb? I know I wrote the rundown. I have to go to it to see what I wrote down because I forgot what we're going to next.
Do we want to answer our question?
Oh, what's your favorite road course?
Yeah.
Or IndyCar in general?
It's a great question.
Yeah, the Hawkeye Downs endurance course is in my top 10.
Yeah, that's a good one. I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of good road courses.
I was gonna say, are we doing road courses? We're not including street courses, I would say, right?
We could do this at the end and actually take time on it.
Okay. Yeah, we'll do it at the end.
And go on a 10-minute tangent of.
He can answer the questions.
Jesse will think about your question. We'll answer the question.
We need logistics because
and
Connor can't do broad questions.
No, that's our weakness. Is you can't give me too many hypotheticals because then I start making stuff up and we get too wild with it. So Christopher Bell wins the Coca-Cola 600 after NASCAR determined that they could not get the track ride, called the race shortly after drivers were. I don't think were formally called back to their cars, but some of them were getting texts saying, come back to the car. From what I can tell, there was no formal drivers to your cars, but nonetheless, NASCAR decided to cancel a race and call it official after it had stopped raining because it was too late. And I thought that was disgusting.
Well, they also gave the excuse that it was not drying, but a lot of people said that it was drying.
Danny Hamlin made that look really bad on his podcast.
Yeah, and that Denny clip, the Denny clip by itself makes it look a lot worse than it looked listening to the full show. That's what the only thing I hate about this like clip stuff is it's just you can really change the tone and the point of what you're trying to say. If you clipped my Indy Next take without the context of you didn't know who Christian Rasmussen was, right? Like I just look like an asshole that's trashing on him to trash him. I don't want to come off like that, obviously, but I don't know. I think it's not raining anymore. I've covered qualifying at Eldora. Granted, not live. I was sitting on my living room couch drinking with my buddies, and it's 3:30 a.m. I think they qualified race cars, and they raced the rest of it the next day. But to act like 12:15 East Coast time is like this too late of a time to keep drying the track and finishing a crown jewel race. I think you made the Coca-Cola 600 look a little smaller than it was last year. I think you don't go all out to try and finish that race. I think it looks less like a crown jewel to me and more like just a long race.
I can see that. And my biggest frustration was to like sit and wait for 2 hours and then kind of like half-assedly be like, oh, well, we're done. But I didn't understand for them to wait that long and then do it. I mean, I would have understood if they did it right when it was storming.
Yeah, I'm completely with you. I'm not there anymore. I don't know. I could still be talked into it. I could talk myself into it right now, but can we get rid of the halfway rule? Can we just finish the race Monday on national TV at noon?
I think that it would be the fans' preference, but I don't think that's good for business.
It's not. I mean, it's not going to be.
Oh, the expense to that is far and above. It's not really smart to do it, right? Like, if we're going to make decisions like this, God, I'm tired of racers want to race.
Right. Take
the time, dry the track, go race, go pull. The funniest part of the whole night, not part of it, not the back half, the entire part of the rain delay coverage was the NASCAR Race Hub staff. That's who was on the rain delay the entire time. And Fox is shutting that show down. Riddle me whatever the hell you're going to do when you don't have NASCAR Race Hub to fill rain delay time for you.
Whatever NBC does, the right thing.
Yeah, and it's just, I don't know why they call that race. NASCAR takes the blame for it. Elton Sawyer talked to Matt Weaver from Sportnot. I can't remember if there's an S in there or not. So someone correct me in the comments if you can. They in NASCAR said that they took the whole blame for it. There was some online rumblings of blame being put on Fox's shoulders. Whether, whatever you think of those, NASCAR took the blame publicly. So that's all I'll say on that. And I wish they would have dry the damn track, run the damn race.
I agree.
I think very memorable Coke 600 whatsoever.
No, I definitely, and I do think people would have stayed up to watch it. I mean, there's no difference than like
out of any night,
like 2012 Daytona, or what was it, 2014 or 2015 July Daytona, one of the 2 years. They were like 3 a.m. races.
Yeah, I think that was the 500.
Yeah,
I think I had hockey practice somewhere around that night. I can't remember, but
I just know Junior won it, so I don't. And then Austin Dillon about. Never mind.
Oh yeah, okay, that one. Yep. I think I might have been thinking of a different one too. I was thinking of the Jet Dryer.
That was 2012. That was
okay.
Yeah, that was the 500.
Gotcha. No, I think we're good on that stuff, at least from the Coke 600. Justin Allgaier, credit to him though. Like he had to figure out how to drive a next gen car around Charlotte with
his interview was good.
Very limited, if not zero laps, right?
He did practice it.
He did have practice,
because I think he practiced it, and then Larson qualified it.
Gotcha. Yeah, he good on him. What a team player that guy is for Hendrick Motorsports. If you don't have him, what are you doing? He's been.
Did you see his press conference where he was like, they had the suit made up for him back in January?
Oh, really?
Yeah, they had this like in line since January,
and that's
like, the hat wasn't his, but the suit was. And apparently, like a week before, they were like, "Oh, we should probably have the suit just in case," and they couldn't find the suit, and it took them like 3 days to find the suit.
Sounds like something I'd do. I went out of my way to get this done ahead of time, and now I can't find the work I did 5 months ago.
No, his whole goal was, he just talked about how he wanted the car to be in one piece for when Larson showed up, and he said he got to like 12th at one point, and he was like, "Oh, we could get to the top 10," and then he was like, "That's not the goal." He's like, "The goal is to just keep the fenders on the car."
God, that would have been funny if he just used the crap out of the car.
Caleb's like, "I wouldn't put it by him."
I wouldn't put it past him either.
I wouldn't either.
Like, dude, drive the crap out. If I'm Larson, I'm like, I got wins already. Don't worry. And I know they're not supposed to act like that or say, and a lot of their minds don't act like that. They want to win every race they go racing, but like, go have some fun with it if we're going to do this double thing, and I'm going to be late to the race anyway. But yeah, no, that's just me. Are we good on Coke 600 stuff? Coke 373.5.
I was going to say, stop calling
it
Coke 600.
My bad. Sorry, other people have used that already, so I couldn't.
Larson ran more miles this weekend than any Cup driver.
Yeah. There you go. What are we doing for Kyle next week to help bring the field back to level? Because now Kyle's more exhausted than the rest of the field. Caleb?
Make him run Xfinity. I don't know.
Make him run more race? Make the whole field run in the Xfinity race. Well, that's what we've been saying to do to the next gen car for 2 years, so.
Yeah.
Just make it Xfinity.
I don't know what there all is else to talk about, but they did announce that Clint Boyer is racing in Nashville.
Okay.
That's I just think that's so random. Like, that is so wild. I saw that and I couldn't believe it. Like, I thought it was fake.
It's crazy. And I like seeing guys come back and race. I wish they'd go run like a Lucas late model race or run a sprint car or run some kind of dirt. But hey, truck race for Spire, and I don't know why he's doing it. I literally I went to the comments, I checked the account, like made sure it was verified and everything. Like, I could not believe it. I wish they would come out with, like, here's 5 minutes. My buddy turns 21 in Nashville, and we wanted to take him to the race, and I wanted to race to see if I could win or something. I don't know, But But yeah, it'll be cool to see Clinton Boyer race a truck, I guess.
Right.
June 7th, right?
Nashville, yeah.
I screwed that date. It's definitely not June 7th, I don't think, but
it's like
it's
just Nashville. June 21st, I think. I think it's after Iowa.
Don't guess on the date after I guessed on the date.
Well, I'm pretty sure I remember reading it on the post. That's why I said that.
It's sometime coming up. I don't know why I remember this. I don't know.
It just said next month. Okay, there you go.
So Stuart Haas Racing is out of NASCAR at the end of the 2024 season. All 4 of their charters are going to be going up for sale. Those can't officially be sold until NASCAR comes to an agreement with the teams on what to do with the charter system. But it sounds like that there was I don't want to say final proposal. Go listen to the Teardown with Jordan Bianchi. If you don't skip the first hour, I love and respect both him and Jeff Gluck. But I think it was right after the 1 hour mark they were talking about it a little bit. But Jordan said it sounded like they would have an offer into the teams this week to what to do to the charter system. And today, Wednesday, so one day after Stuart Haas announced, Front Row Motorsports announced that they're going to move to 3 cars in 2025. I would then venture to say that the timing here says that one of those 4 SHR charters is going to Front Row Motorsports. Bob Pockris posted that the other 2 are likely to go to 2311 and Trackhouse. So that's taken care of. But I would also venture to say that agreement between NASCAR and its teams is probably a little bit closer being done. I would venture to say that we've not seen the end of the charter system and they're going to keep it around, which at this point, that's the only thing giving the teams value. So I don't see it ever going away. I don't know what the pathway would be for it to go away in the future. But yeah, do you guys have any thoughts on that? And still have to talk about it a little bit, but it sounds like 4-car teams are going to be no more in the future.
I was going to say, I did hear a rumor saying that NASCAR was looking into cutting down to 3.
So it sounds like
Hendrick and Joe Gibbs because they're grandfathered.
Yeah, they're going to be grandfathered in. And then I think everything else is 3-car team maximum. So I don't agree with that, honestly. I think the team successful enough to have 4 cars and make money doing it should be allowed to do that. I'm not at all sitting here going 5, 6, 7, bring them all, but you already have teams with 4. So Hendrick and Joe Gibbs get to run 4 cars for the rest of time. And now everyone else can only run 3.
So this might just be absolutely stupid on my part, but what's the rule for wanting to run a part-time car then if you have 3 cars? Like
I don't know
what RFK does, but say they had like 3 cars already.
Yeah, I have no idea what the ruling on that would be whatsoever. It's probably difficult to...
Because I know Hendrick did that in like 2015 where they ran 5.
Yeah, and Roush had a year where they were running 5 as well. I don't know.
I was going to say, I know like back when you could do it, before there was a limitation on it. I know Roush had 5, but I didn't know that they recently did it.
I think they should allow you to run a 5th car if Kyle Larson's driving it and nobody else.
I'm surprised you didn't say like Michael Annett.
Oh, that would have been better. Yeah. Anyone that has formerly played hockey or raced a sprint car, they can hop in your team's extra car.
Riku Abreu?
That counts. Yeah, sprint car. Boom. No, but yeah, stuff is changing with NASCAR. It's going to be a wild, next 6 months as the silly season stuff irons and stuff out and these dominoes continue to fall. So that's where we're at right now. At Iowa Speedway right now, I believe probably just about getting over. They were doing wheel force testing today for NASCAR. That test was closed to media members. And then yesterday they did just a Goodyear tire test, and I went out there and covered that. Good for
great timing.
I don't know how to pronounce this guy's name. It's Drunkest Hole. Oh, it's just
Drunk-ass Hole.
Yeah. No, that I got fooled on that one. Good stuff, man. He says, any thoughts on what the Iowa Speedway repave looked like in person? Concerned it will be a one-lane dominated race now. So the repave looks good. I guess they've taken the bumps out of the corners. That's obviously a positive. You want less cars getting unsettled on the racetrack, and I guess in the right context, you still want cars against their edge and stuff like that. I will say Christopher Bell and Kyle Larson sounded pretty pessimistic to what they thought the product is going to look like. Brad Keselowski, I felt, had more optimism towards it. And he loves Iowa Speedway and he loves the community and everything. He was invited to announce the news when they got the Cup race. He was at that press conference. So he's always been a big.
He won my first ever Cup race, or I guess Xfinity race I went to.
Yeah, I think he won the first race at Iowa Speedway ever. Is either first or first national race or something like that. But
all I know is he won in 2013.
He walked in the media center and he was looking at all the photos and he's like, "That Carrie Underwood? When was she here?" And he's like, "You'd think I was the first winner here. I'd have my picture up in the media center. What the hell is that about?" So that was fun to get to talk to them. That's all on our YouTube. You can go listen to all their full comments. Larson had some updates on dirt stuff he's doing that we'll talk about on our show tomorrow night on the dirt segment of that. So I shouldn't say segment. The whole show's dirt focused. But I don't know. Iowa Speedway is getting a Cup race. It's right around the corner. There's going to be grip in the corners. I think the low lane is going to be dominant. But who knows? They had 3 cars out there and they were running, I think Christopher Bell said about 350 laps they got down. They were running about for a good
chunk. Run a whole race with 3 cars?
Well, they weren't all out there the whole time, obviously. But once you get more cars on the track and more rubber on the racetrack, it's going to behave differently. So I don't want to take anything that I mean, they were testing 1 car. It was never 2 cars in traffic, at least when we were there watching. And I can't remember any time where anyone went above the bottom line. So,
Caleb, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't it only in the entrance of 1 and like on the exit of 4?
No, it's on both corners, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and it's.
Is it all the way through the corner?
Yeah.
Okay. I thought I read something different, but
it kind of looked like a mess, at least from what I saw on social media, and I do have the concern that it's going to just be a.
What looked like a mess about it to you from social media?
Well, so the picture that I saw, they had like the bottom lane didn't look like it was repaved. In 3 and 4, it looked like it was like the middle lane, and then like the top lane, it was partially repaved through the corner.
That's what I saw.
Yeah, and then I had heard too that like the exit of 1 and 2, or I guess the exit of 2, wasn't repaved. So I don't know. My main concern is that it's just going to be a single file parade on the bottom.
It looked to me, and I couldn't walk all the way down there. It looked to me like the bottom lane around it was pretty evenly all the way around the corner, and anything above it that looked unleveled was to fix bumps in the racetrack. So I don't know if that had anything to do with it or what. I guess
always deleted the top groove.
I don't know what that's going to do to the racing. I don't know if we're going to pull out that PJ1 super glue and throw that down and see what happened. I did not get any talks about that or anything. I think they were really trying to feel out that surface and see what they had there. Obviously, the race is in 17 days, so time's ticking. But it's a Cup race at Iowa. We're going to embrace it. We're going to go down and have a party, and I'll be driving back and forth between there and Knoxville all weekend, so that'll be an adventure, and I'm excited to see it get here. You guys got anything else? Do you have your favorite road course picked out?
No.
I was trying to think of what would piss you off the most. I had the streets of Chicago. I had Bristol Dirt because you turn left and right at Bristol Dirt, so that counts as a road course.
According to all the replays, too, you do that at Indianapolis.
That's right. Good catch, Josh. I'm trying to think. Barber's out because they got mannequins falling until they go 365 days in a row without a mannequin falling on the surface, then I'll put them back in when they do. If Detroit turns out like Detroit did last year, that is one thing we didn't talk about. A lot of IndyCar fans are pissed that they haven't seen more tweets from IndyCar themselves about Detroit and that race being this weekend.
I mean, you just had the biggest race of the year, and they just had the celebration. Like, was it 2 nights ago or was it last night? It was 2 nights ago.
Yeah, I think it was Monday.
Yeah.
The amount of tweets I've seen from people talking about IndyCar not tweeting about it vastly outnumber the amount of tweets that would be sent about the race going into the weekend had IndyCar posted about it like these people want them to.
Well, I mean, the only thing I will say on that is, like IndyCar is notoriously bad about advertising their...
But for the first time ever, they might fall ass backwards into a great marketing strategy. That's what my point is trying to... I came off super like just one-sided on the note thing because I'm like trying to remember my thoughts about it, and I don't want to influence you guys in what you think, but to me, it's working better than any marketing thing they could have done this week.
Because everyone's talking about it.
Yeah, everyone's talking about them not tweeting about Detroit.
As long as they get good viewership.
Yeah, and I think we've talked a little bit about the challenges that, and like it's weird how people decide what they're going to watch and stuff like that.
I mean, I'll be honest. Until you mentioned it, I didn't know that IndyCar was racing this weekend.
I say you work at a racing website, you should know that.
But that's what I'm saying.
I don't know. They're 100 days to Indy.
Just based off of like, listen, it's been so crazy. I haven't been paying a whole lot of attention, but like NASCAR's at Gateway. Xfinity, I think, is at Portland. But like could not. That's just because scrolling on Twitter, like I see people talking about it or different things, would not have been able to tell you that IndyCar was racing this weekend or that they were at Detroit.
Yeah, the only thing I wish they would have had a commercial during the race saying that Detroit was next week. And maybe they did. Maybe I was in the pisser, but I didn't see much about Detroit on the broadcast. I can't remember a single part of it that mentioned Detroit. So I wish they do that. Obviously,
I shook my head to that response, but I don't know why I did because I didn't watch.
The other big thing is they're going to 100 Days to Indy is going to be on Netflix now. And don't ask me why this is, but I guarantee you that somehow more people by a lot are going to watch that on Netflix than, what was it, the CW? What's their streaming thing?
Yeah, it's the CW.
Oh, yeah.
Is it Max, John, Brad, Tyler? I don't know the streaming platform name for CW, so I was just guessing.
I don't know.
Anyway. All right, well, it's on Netflix now, so tune into it. It was good last year. I think I watched most of the series. I can't remember. I get too busy in the summer and then I forget stuff. But I thought it was a well-done piece. I can't wait to take it all in this year and see what it's about and watch the rest of this racing season. Big events coming up in June and July. You guys good? You still no favorite road courses from Caleb?
I don't know.
I'm torn between two.
Jesse took the time out of his day to comment, to ask your thoughts on something, and you're going to sit here in silence and protest that?
I'm not protesting. I don't have.
You're like the guy who won't sign the autograph right now. That's what you're doing.
I don't have.
You're the guy that's denying an interview after a race.
I'm being.
Oh, I won't name anybody that was ticked at Kyle Larson not going to the media center after the Coke 600. Man, that's the first interview that guy skipped out on in years.
I was just making the comment that Caleb always brings up how Pato didn't accept his interview.
Oh, yeah. We didn't need to do that one on here. Jeez.
My two are probably Long Beach or Abu Dhabi.
What? Oh, okay. I hadn't heard that one. My bad. Let's go. I'm gonna say Detroit for IndyCar on the assumption that the race is as electric as it was last year. Don't look at me like that. Go watch the race. You won't be disappointed. It ended up being great. Everyone said it was going to suck, and it was an instant classic. It was a banger. And then I'm going Chicago with, again, the assumption that this year's race kicks as much ass as last year's did.
You need rain for that to happen.
We need a lot of stuff for that to happen. So
you need a
Shane Van Gisbergen.
Yeah, I was going to say you need a Shane Van Gisbergen like guy to show up
with enough time to get back into the lead spot eventually, and then take the lead with laps on end. When I'm sitting here like Chase Elliott's like one of the best road course guys. Like this guy has no chance, no way. Wow, man, what a race! All right. I think that's all we got for you guys. Thank you to everyone that tuned in. Really appreciate it. And we will be back with a dirt episode tomorrow. And this series, the pavement show or asphalt, whatever you want to call it, back next week, probably Wednesday night. So we're going to try to do more of these live. People seem to enjoy that. We like the questions, except for Caleb tonight. He's just in a bad mood. Caleb, I'll let you get out of here and get dinner or whatever you got to do. Josh, sorry for Pato, and everyone else, love you. Thanks for listening, and see you guys.